Yo, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give call hello, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, for giving me the spirit and power to do this lesson. All right? So what we're going to talk about today, as I'm driving, I got quite the way to go. So I figured I'd hit the play button, the live button, and go over this lesson, dealing with pair bonding and sexual habits, man. Pair bonding and sexual habits, and a lot of this, I can speak from experience, the things that I went through also. And I can start off by saying, I didn't know, I didn't understand. I ain't gonna say I didn't know. I didn't understand. We come into this truth, we get wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. I didn't understand why I was so sexually active. And a lot of that shit goes back to being touched as a kid. Being touched as a kid, whether it's your cousins, your uncles, your aunties, your parents, you know, that's a lot of the reason why a lot of us grow up and we're so sexually active. Man, there's times, I was so sexually active. There's times like, where you forget relationships that you've been in, women that you didn't slept with. You didn't forgot it. You know what I'm saying? They walk up to you and they be like, oh, hey. And you be like, do I know you? And it should not be like that at all, man. That's some crazy shit, man. But it goes back to, everybody, almost the majority of our people has, man. And that's why they grow up the way that they grow up, being sexually active to the point where every time, if you're a woman, every time you see a man, you thinking about how big his rod is. You thinking about, how he would flip you, turn you, and do all these things to you. And as a man, you undressing her with your eyes. You're doing the same exact thing. You always undressing her with your eyes. You always looking at her a moment to look, to look at her body and so forth, man. And that shit'll drain you. That shit'll take a lot of life away from you to the point where you can't even look at her, you can't even talk to a person, a woman, and not think of something sexual. But it feels so good not being like that no more, because my whole life I was like that until I came into the knowledge of the truth. And to be honest, my first couple of years in the truth was even like that. I'm fighting off this fear, but I finally got to the point where I'm not just sexually active like that anymore. I can turn down women. I didn't stay the night with women that I was courting and I never touched them. No, I didn't stay the night with them. I didn't been around women. In the world, I would have never done that. It would have never went down like that. I would have popped there and I would have moved on with my life. I'd have moved on. You know how I go, right? But coming into the knowledge of the truth, that's another thing that we have to throw off, man. Thinking about, just sex all the fucking time. And honestly, that's why a lot of niggas come into the knowledge of the truth, or they even acknowledge the truth. It's because of poly. And you can look on Facebook and be a witness to that. It's all about poly. In the nation of Israel, was the majority of these men. They have no intentions on really saving these women, man. Them and raising them up in the truth. Teaching them about jealousy, teaching them about anger, teaching them about disobedience. They not sitting down with their wives and actually reading the Bible and actually teaching them. They just popping them. That's it. And letting them do their own thing. That's all they doing, man. Right? Obeying the things that they want. You know what I'm saying? With their sexual fetishes that they have. You know what I'm saying? And there's a king of the East. I forgot what his name was, but he came up with a term. He said, if you want to destroy a nation without war, he says make sex. He says make sex and nudity common in the young generation. Now to us, we look at this and the truth is the curses of Deuteronomy. The curse have devoured us. But the Most High have always used nations to put these kind of things upon us. Right? That's why everywhere you turn around, there's some they only promote women with bodies on TV shows and movies nowadays. And it's causing women to go get surgeries on their bodies. And they want you to worship their ass and they titties. They worship it. And they want you to worship it too. You will be amazed how many women are. It's a lot of women dying from that shit, man. From getting BBLs, man, and getting, you know, fat sucked out of their stomach and putting their ass in their titties. It's a lot of women dying from that, straight up, because it's going into worship, it's idolatry. They're worshiping the body, the image of the body, right? And that's wrong, man. But they causing these men to worship it too, to where, you know, that's all men think about nowadays, man. They going to nigga go to the store, he looking for a woman with a fat ass or some titties on her. That's all niggas is looking for nowadays. And that's all women are. They only putting on clothes that's revealing they ass and they titties. Man, I'm just being real. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Every time you go to Walmart, anywhere, you know what I'm saying? When a woman like you, the first thing she does is she turns around and makes sure you can see her ass. She's trying to get your attention with her ass instead of her knowledge that she know, the books that she reads, right? Even her pretty face. It ain't even about the face no more. It's about the ass and titties, man. And that king said it. He said it correct, and it was right on head. You want to destroy a nation without war? Make sex and nudity common in the young generation, man. And another thing, you know, I drive every single day. I go on routes every single day, and I just see a whole bunch of women pregnant walking, man, walking, and it helps me understand. I'll be seeing them. I'm moving too fast, but I'm trying to say as much as I can before I get to my stop. But you see a lot of women pregnant walking, and you even see men walking with their wives pregnant. And what it made me think, and as I'm meditating on this as I'm driving, I'm like, damn, bro, it's all, you know, this is hypersexual generation. If I can give the definition of hypersexual while I'm driving, hypersexual, right? Hypersexual meaning hypersexuality, also known as compulsive sexual behavior disorder. So they label this a disease, man. They label this a disease. It says reoccurring and intense sexual thoughts, urges, and behaviors that are difficult to control and can cause significant impairment in daily life to the point where you can't even focus no more. That's all you thinking about is sex. You and your wife then had sex 5, 6, 7 times in that day, and y'all both got this same mentality of being hypersexual, right? And going back to the point of seeing them walking, it shows you they ain't even fucking worrying about making money no more. They ain't worrying about being financially stable. They not worrying about anything like that. Only thing they think they worrying about is getting high and having sex. And I've seen it. I've seen it on and I've been there too. I've been there. I can say that too. I can boastfully say I've been there because I'm not there anymore, right? And it's sad, and I feel sorry for the young generation that got to go through it because they don't have no older people to tell them that nah, this is not the way. You need to do something with yourself. You need help because the elderly people have adapted to the same ideology. That's all these elderly women think about too, and elderly men. That's all they fucking think about is having sex. And that's a problem in our community. That's a problem because you gotta look at it like this, man. Some people have men. It'd be so bad with the men when it comes to sex that these men, what if you go to jail? That's still all you think about. So you know what you do? You start experimenting. You start trying other things. And you know what I'm talking about. Women too. It gets to a point where women, and I had a conversation with a brother the other day about it, on how women, they have so much sex with different men. And this is one sign that we notice is that they start dealing with women. When women start dealing with women, it's because they done had so much sex with different men. It gets boring to them. It gets boring, and they don't desire the man no more. They want to have fun in other ways. They want to experiment in other ways, and that's a fucking problem, man. That is a problem, right? But it says it's important to distinguish between healthy sexual activity. and hypersexuality, as the latter involves a loss of control and negative consequences. You see that? And that's where niggas be, freaks, freaky ass niggas where they in public, you know, pull up on a female and they beating they meat in front of a. The Bible talks about all of that. So Psalms 55:22. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. So if you having that problem, that disease, that disorder that Esau even labels a disease, but the scriptures talk about, it being demons, right? Spirits, negative, evil spirits. The scriptures tell you to cast those kind of burdens on the Lord, and he'll sustain you. He'll help you with those kind of problems. You don't have to deal with that shit your whole entire life, man. Because like I said earlier, it's draining. It will drain you, man. That's all you looking for. You go to the store or anywhere, you looking for ass and titties. Bro, that shit is retarded because almost every woman got it nowadays. They're putting steroids in food, man, to make women think like that. That's just the truth. So you're just gonna go all day missing out all your years just looking at ass, man. That's all you're gonna do. Now we men, we love. That's what we love. The Most High told in Proverbs, it tells you that a woman's breast is supposed to satisfy you. It tells you in Sirach chapter 26 or Psalm 31, one of those, that her figure is a beautiful thing to the eyes of man. So yes, we love that, but don't get to the point where it drains you to the point where that's all you can think about, man. That's all you thinking about. You go to any reunion anywhere, you like, is she our cousin? Because you just desire her. Bro, every woman is, you don't pair bond with every woman, bro. Every woman ain't for you. And that's why I titled this lesson, Pair Bonding and Sexual Habits. Some men and women can't pair bond because they didn't have sex with way too many men and women. They didn't have sex with way too many, so they no longer can pair bond. That's why usually when you have sex with a woman, she's supposed to be attached to you. If you have sex with that woman and she don't call you and she not texting you, bro, most likely she can't pair bond. She don't have her spirit has already been taken and it's over with. She can't pair bond. Go look up the definition of pair bond. Her being spiritually attached to you, going back to Genesis, y'all becoming one. That woman no longer can do that anymore, or that man no longer can do that anymore. They can't pair bond anymore because they didn't have too many sexual partners. Straight up. You got men who who done slept with women, and these women be sincere, man. And I didn't talk to brothers like this in councils. They said these women be sincere. They really want to be with these men, and these niggas just can't help it. They like, bro, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't have no emotions toward women. I just want they box. And you got women that say the same thing. I don't know. And some people, some men and women, they hide under bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, or niggas ain't shit but dogs. They hide under that. But truth be told, you just can't fucking pair bond. But there's a way out of that, and that's going on a sexual fast. But I gotta tell you, it's the same as, fasting from a drug, because it's just as bad as a drug. Getting the cold shakes, you know what I'm saying? All of that. You understand what I'm saying? It's just as addictive as a drug, having sex. But you gotta learn to control yourself, right? Discipline is one thing you gotta have in the truth. And if you don't have that, most brothers in the truth, I tell you, you're not about to be around my wife. And I didn't actually have to tell brothers that. Brothers that I'm hearing, they'll say certain shit. I'm talking about brothers that say no to the truth. They'll say shit like, what I'm saying, don't leave your girl around me. Why the fuck would you say that in the truth? But truth be told, those are the people that you gotta watch. So it's actually a good thing that they utter shit like that, so that you can help them and so you can keep them away from your girl, bro. That's just the truth. But pair bonding, you don't pair bond with every single woman that you're with, man. You don't pair bond, not with, but every single woman that you talk to. Even if y'all have a good conversation, that don't mean that y'all pair bond, man. Pair bonding goes way deeper than that. So Psalms 55 and 22, cast thy burden. A burden is a problem that you have. You're supposed to be casting that on the Most High God. It says that he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. So if you have a righteous mentality about the problems that you have, and you really want to get those problems fixed, cast that burden on the Most High, meaning come pray, come bending, kneeling to the Most High, and pray unto him so that he can help you, dude. Or girl, we need help. We need help. And the Most High God, he's going to help you through brothers and sisters. A lot of brothers, they don't want to utter stuff like that in front of brothers that they got those kind of problems, because they don't want to seem like that kind of person. But, that's the only way. That's the only way. The Most High ain't about to sprinkle some damn stardust on you, and now all of a sudden you don't have this problem no more. He already told you through the book, you make that prayer, he's going to answer you. And next thing you know, a brother noticed what kind of problem that you have. And he's telling you through the spirit or through the scriptures, or he might even do a lesson over it. And then you come and tell him, bro, I've been struggling with this problem for years. And then he can help you. But that's all up to you, man. That's all up to you. But when you read scriptures like, let me get this 1 Peter. We all had our time dealing with these guys. That's how I'm able to break it down like this, because, bro, I was there. I done done this shit. And I thought, like, you know what I'm saying? I knew it was a problem. I'm like, God damn, like, what the hell is wrong with me? Right? And of course, it was the basics. I ain't even gonna sit here and play them kind of games. It was the basics. Women. Love, you just love women. You love women so much, bro, you just give them too much strength, too much energy. And the scriptures tell you not to give your strength unto women. Bro, and what is it? Proverbs 31 and 3. Bro, that was a woman telling you that. Proverbs 31 was written by a woman. A woman told you not to give your strength to women. You understand that? So when you read 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 1, it says, therefore since Hamashiach suffered in his body, arm yourselves also with the same attitude. Because whoever suffers in the body is done with sin. You suffering in the body is you having these urges, but you fight against it. You throwing blows at these urges that you have. You know what I'm saying? You doing other, You doing all kinds like a brother that struggled with smoking, right? You nigga, you chewing on toothpicks. You know what I'm saying? You chewing on straws. You doing whatever you gotta do to not put a cigarette or a blunt or a Black and Mild in your mouth, man. You actually throwing blows at those urges, right? And this is what happens when you come into the knowledge of the truth. This is what you got to do. This is part of killing the body, because this shit don't feel good, man. Having to quit certain things, right? Like smoking for me, man, that shit was hard. It was hard. And it's hard for a lot of brothers. But once you get past it, it yields the peaceable fruits of righteousness. Straight up. You feel good about being righteous. Right? You feel one step closer to the Most High God. But it says, whoever suffers in the body is done with sin. Right? We're still going to sin, but it's talking about practicing sin. Knowing you got a problem, but you're like, oh, well, fuck it. I know I ain't the only one. It says, as a result, it says, as a result, they do not live the rest of their earthly lives for evil human desires. And this evil human desire we're talking about is lust, lasciviousness, man. You being a pervert. You looking at every woman ass every time you corner your eyes trying to look at it. And it don't stop with single women, so don't even play yourself. Be real with yourself. This woman, she with a man. This woman right here with a man, and you still looking at her ass. Like, damn, that ass is fat. You know what I'm saying? You undressing her with her eyes. You thinking about what you would do to her and all this bullshit. And that shit is draining, man. And not only draining, Yahweh told you in Matthew 5:28, when you look at a woman like that, you committed adultery in your heart. So, and we know Paul said in 1 Corinthians 6, adulterers shall have no part in the kingdom of heaven. So, man, you got a job, you got a mission, you got to complete. Right? Let me stop right quick. It says, as a result, they do not live their earthly lives for the evil human desires, but rather for the will of God. This is you taking everything that you want to do, casting it to the side, or actually killing it and living for the Lord, being an example to the rest of your people. Right? And it takes a real soldier to be able to do that. It says, for you spent enough time in the past doing what pagans choose to do. Right? This is what Esau had taught us. Right? And I always say Esau's true nature lives through Jacob, man. You want to ever know how Esau truly lives? Look at Jacob, man. Because Esau taught us that shit. Because that's Esau's true nature. It says, living in debauchery, lust. See that? Lust, drunkenness, orgies, carousing, and detestable idolatry. Right? Detestable idolatry. Detestable goes back to filthy. It goes back to nasty, Salakia. Nasty idolatry. Like a woman getting a fucking BBL or getting her breast done. That's a detestable idolatry because it's a form of worship. It's a form of worship. And like I said earlier, she wants you to worship her ass too, man. And a lot of you niggas bite the cheese like a damn rat. You fall for it, right? Instead of teaching her better. Right? And you have some women, they learn from the consequences of getting BBLs and those kind of surgeries, and they got them removed. All praises to the Most High for that. And now they can live their life in peace and not worrying about, every time they see a man, they got to find some way for that man to see their ass. Like, we see women do shit all the time. We be just laughing at them. Like, if they got a fat ass, they'll hurry up and try to turn in the aisle before us just so we can see them. Or they'll double back on the aisle. You know what women do, man. That's just what they do. Or men following women around the store. Niggas just following women around the store. Some niggas work at grocery stores just so they can follow women around the store. And have an excuse because they work there. Right? Like, you on one side of the store. And this is a living testimony. Right? Like, I worked at Walmart. And I had a couple homeboys. And if we seen a woman that was to our liking, let me say, brother come all the way over there from hardware to the grocery store where I'm at and be like, hey, bro, you got to come look at this. And we go over there and we look. And I do the same thing. Those fucking days is over, and they should be over, man. Now, I'm still gonna look. I'm still gonna desire. Oh, if I want her, I'm gonna talk to her. But it don't get to the point where it's fucking draining. It doesn't get to that point, and it shouldn't get to that point. Ain't nobody telling you not to love women and their body and their breasts, because that's what it's in the scriptures. It tells you to do that. It tells you the Lord created the breast for you and for the baby, of course, too. But it literally tells you in Proverbs, her breast was created for you. Let me see if I can find it. Proverbs 5:19. It says, let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. See that? Let her breast satisfy you. So it's nothing wrong with desiring a big breast woman. It's nothing wrong with that, right? And let me see. It says, this is Sirach chapter 26 and 17. It says, her beautiful face and attractive figure are as lovely as the light from the sacred lampstand in the temple. You see that? It's as beautiful as the lampstand in the temple. Her beautiful face and her attractive figure. Attractive figure means you're attracted to it. You like to look at it. So it's nothing wrong with looking and wanting and desiring, but you gotta control yourself, bro. You gotta control yourself. You have to, because it gets to a point where it can get your ass in trouble, get you yanked up by the Lord, and you wondering why you going through shit, and it be stuff like that. The little things add up, man. The little things add up. It's crazy. I ain't gonna be able to finish this lesson, but let me see. I'm gonna go back to that Peter. First Peter chapter 4 in the NIV. It says, verse 4, they are surprised that you do not join them in their reckless, wild living, and they heap abuse on you. Like, you got certain brothers like, I got these females lined up, bro. What you trying to do? And you be like, shit, do they got men? And they be like, shit, I don't know, and I don't care. I don't want to be their man. You know what I'm saying? That's what they be on, and you be like, nah, bro, I'm cool on that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? If they ain't got no man, I'm down. Because it's okay to do that. If they don't got no man, it's okay to go hang out with females, bro. This shit is okay. You just got to limit and understand to do it in righteousness. Right? But they are surprised when you do not join them in their reckless, wild living. And they heap abuse on you. They get to talking shit about you. You know what I'm saying? You hear less and less from them. They don't call you no more. You know what I'm saying? They don't hit you no more. They don't hit you up no more because you're not a part of that lifestyle anymore. Right? And it just shows how wicked they are. It says, but they will have to give account to him who is ready to judge the living and the dead. You see that? And that's one thing I am afraid of. That's called the fear of the Lord. Is to be, afraid to be judged by the Lord. Unless it's in righteousness. Right? So I'm going to get 1 Corinthians chapter 6 now. When you read 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and you start at verse 9, it tells you, and I'm going to get it in the Amplified version I was looking at. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9 in the Amplified version, it says, do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom? It says, inherit or have any share in the kingdom of God. Do not be deceived. Don't try to deceive somebody else. Don't deceive yourself, most importantly. Neither the sexual immoral. You need to go into what being sexual immoral is. Nor idolaters. Right? The worshiping of a body until 2025. Right? Because you got women who worship six packs. They'll cheat on their man. I've seen a video. She was an Edomite, but it still applies. Jake do it too. They was talking about tattoos that he had. It was on a podcast. And bro, she literally did this shit on camera. They were talking about tattoos that he had. He lifted up his shirt and was like, "Yeah, yeah, I got this tattoo right here. This is one of my favorite ones." And she literally bit her lip and slowly slid her marriage ring off of her finger, man. That's a form of idolatry. That is what the fuck? Why would you do that? Because she lusted after that body. She want nothing more than that body. Straight up. And men do the same thing. They'll sleep with another woman simply because of her body. She throwing her ass on him, man. He going, and I'm talking about a woman that's married, of course, because men can have multiple wives. That's our belief, of course. But this woman can be married, and he gonna sleep with her, man, because she got an ass on her, or if his fetish is titties, or if his fetish is feet, or his fetish could be just a pretty face. But it also says, nor adulterous, nor effeminate by perversion, nor those who participate in homosexuality, nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor drunkards, nor revilers, whose words are used as a weapon to abuse, insult, humiliate, intimidate, or slander, nor swindlers will inherit or have any share in the kingdom of God. So we have to examine these kind of traits and characteristics, but it also says, and such were some of you before you believed. And that's why I'm able to explain this shit, because I've been there and I've done it. It says, and such were some of you before you believed, but you were washed by the atoning sacrifice of a Mashiach. You were sanctified, set apart for God and made holy. You were justified, decreed free of guilt in the name of the Lord, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, and the Holy Spirit of our God, the source of the believer's new life and changed behavior. Changed behavior. We gotta change. We gotta kill the old us. We gotta kill the old us, man, or you're doomed, man. And that's just the truth. You're doomed. You're done. You're finished. You gotta get rid of that lasciviousness behavior, that lustful behavior. And I gotta say this. I was doing some studying a couple years back, and I was going over how there's a thin line between lust and desire, right? Like you can lust after your wife, right? And you can lust after another woman. It's a thin line between that. So it's really about controlling yourself, because the lust is there and it's going to stay there. But you got to learn where to channel it, and you got to learn how to control it. That's just the truth, man, because it's there. It's going to be there. Now, let me get Sirach chapter 23. I'm going to leave it off on this. Sirach chapter 23. I believe that's what Yes. Sirach chapter 23 and 16. It says, two sorts of men multiply sin, and the third will bring wrath. A hot mind is as a burning fire. A hot mind is as a burning fire. So that hot mind that you have, whatever is whatever it's lust, lasciviousness, whatever it is, it's as a burning fire. Meaning, look, when you look at the significance of a burning fire, it gets worse and worse, and it consumes whatever's in its path, man. It consumes it. And it says that a hot mind is as a burning fire. It will never be quenched till it be consumed. So if you don't learn how to control yourself and you don't use the scriptures to control yourself in the fear of the Lord, it's going to consume you, man. It's going to get you destroyed. It's going to get you, it's going to get you dead, man. Like the General Hezekiah used to always say, you're going to wake up dead. It says, a fornicator in the body of his flesh will never cease till he have kindled a fire. And what goes on with this fire, like I said, it gets bigger and bigger, and the flame gets greater, it gets hotter, and it starts to devour everything in its path, man. And then it says, all bread is sweet to a whoremonger. And that's how you can identify. If you're looking at every woman on this earth, I don't care what she look like. She can look like a man. She can be super fat, whatever, or super skinny. She can have her bald headed. It don't matter. You just want her. You want her and you're ready to take her down. It says all bread is sweet to a whoremonger, man. He will not leave off till he dies. All bread is sweet to a whoremonger. And I still use that phrase today. When a nigga, that's all you think, that's all he talking about is popping it. Damn, she look good. She look good. She look good. I had a woman in a family that was like that. Every fucking man damn, he fine. Damn, he fine. And she was really like that. She would sleep with whoever wanted it, man. It could be an old ass man. It could be an underage little boy, man. And she'll give it to him. To the point where she caught something she couldn't get rid of, man. And guess what? That fire was still burning. She still didn't stop. She was passing that shit around. She went to a whole different state. Thought that was gonna help her. And she's sleeping with men in these other states to the point where these men whooped her. They jumped her, man. I'm sure these men ran a train on her and caught something, and they jumped her. They beat the hell out of her, and she brought her ass right back to the state, to the town. But it says, a man that breaketh wedlock, saying thus in his heart, who seeth me? I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins. And that's the majority of these niggas thinking the Most High loves them, and he's all love, and he's not going to remember their sins. And that's, you wrong, man. You going to pay for that shit, man. You going to pay for having that lascivious, lustful ass heart that you can't control. You going to pay for it, man. Then it says, such a man only feareth the eyes of man, and knowing not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts. Understand that, man, and learn how to control yourself, because the Most High God is watching us, and your sins are being recorded. Just because it's not black and white, that don't mean, just because it's not black and white in the law, don't mean that the Lord ain't watching you and it's shit you doing that he don't like. You got to learn to be a spiritual man. You got to learn to walk in the spirit, man. A spiritual man gonna understand, man, bro. This shit is draining me, and it ain't right, man. Right? I shouldn't be desiring 12, 13, 14 wives, man. I shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? If you a man, bro, if you desire multiple wives, get you 2 or 3, bro, and sit the fuck down somewhere. Because if that ain't good enough for you, bro, you need to be going to the Most High. You need to be bending, and you need to be, talking to the Most High, man, because you got a serious problem. And that serious problem is going to, trickle down to your wife or your wives that you have. So that's all I got, man. Lord willing, you was edified, even if it's just a little bit. Come bend into the Most High God. And I can finish off with 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 7. It says, verse 6, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. So you can be exalted. You can repent from those sexual habits, of that failure of pair bonding and those sexual habits, and you can come back stronger, man. And certain women that knew that about you, or certain men that knew that about you, they can see a new you, man. And that can potentially bring them into the knowledge of the truth. But it says, casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. So the Most High cares for you. He just waiting for you to do your end of the bargain, man. So until next time, shalom.